Hey you, yeah you who clicked on this video. Thanks for giving our channel a shot. And if you will, please do us the honor of watching the video all the way through. Appreciate it. Now onto the video. Heroes. Today we are going to take a look at the latest outing from Marvel Studios, Captain America Brave New World. So, with everything surrounding this film, reshoots, some bad press, a lot of things, lowered expectations given Marvel's output as of late. A lot of reviewers that I've seen, a lot of people that I deeply respect, have kind of gone the easy route on this one. And the easy route is to slam this movie because of various reasons: political ideology, just general dislike for Marvel's output as of late. But here we're not going to do that. Anybody that's been a fan of this channel or has been around long enough knows that at 8-Bit Heroes we keep it real. And so, keeping it real, we're going to review this film straight up and down on the merits. So let's get started. So, Captain America Brave New World is the fourth Captain America film. And it is not bad. I can't lie to you guys. I'm not going to pretend for clicks. I'm not doing it, okay? This movie has a lot to say, and it does it in a very, very, very subtle way. Anybody calling this movie woke, we're just gonna go, straight up and down, is a liar, okay? I don't know what the motivation is or where, what perspective they're coming from, but the movie is not woke at all. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's not pushing an agenda. It's not pushing the politics of the day. It's not pushing any type of progressivisms of any kind. What it is talking about is essentially a look at manhood. And it is looking at manhood and masculinity in a way that we do not see in movies currently. I'm honestly surprised that this movie was even able to be made because of how male-centric it is. Not only is it male-centric, but it's also America-centric, which I shouldn't even have to say given that it's a Captain America movie. And it's also centered around soldiers. And I just find the movie fascinating in that way. So let's get into it. So one thing that I appreciated about this movie is that the trailers do not give away what this movie is exactly about. I love that. And I also love the performances. Nobody phoned in any performances in this film, which I was extremely surprised at. And I mean surprised because Harrison Ford is in this movie, and anybody that knows Harrison Ford's latest output knows that Harrison Ford been phoning shit in like he was AT&T. And it's refreshing to see him actually put forth the effort and put a strong performance into this film. Now, the reason that I can tell you that this film is about men is because you are looking at men in this film in different stages of manhood. And I thought that was so interesting about this film. You have a young man trying to prove himself. You have a seasoned man trying to find his own way and chart his own path, at the same time trying to be respectful of those that came before him. And then you have two older men. And the two older men are on kind of different sides of the same trajectory, if you will. And the reason I say that is because you have one man who is trying to make up for his mistakes, and another man trying to mentor the next generation while also dealing with extreme amounts of trauma. Then there is a fifth man. And the reason I'm being vague is because I'm not going to spoil any of this. Now, I'll probably drop a spoiler review depending on how this video does. But you have a fifth man, and that fifth man is a broken man. He is a man who has been wronged. He is a man who is full of anger and rage and resentment and wants revenge. And each person, each storyline, each character is presented in such a way that you can understand and empathize with them. And I thought that was very interesting. Now, I took my family to see this movie, so my wife and my 2 sons, and they all took something away from this film different. And I appreciated that. I really, really appreciated that from this film. And I thought that is something that you don't get from a lot of films. Now, let's examine this. So as a movie, I think that this was top notch. I think that it definitely embodied almost like a Tom Clancy style of film and a writing style. Anthony Mackie's performance as Captain America was wonderful. And the supporting cast was also good. Now, as far as the cast is concerned, I did have a problem with the young Black Widow character. I don't know, maybe it's me, but the Black Widows just seem to get smaller and smaller with each iteration. I mean, you had, Scarlett Johansson, and then you have Florence Pugh, who is, puny. She's smaller than Scarlett Johansson. And then you have this new young lady. I know her name, but I'm going to screw it up if I try to pronounce it, so I'm just not. And she's smaller than Florence Pugh, and it's like, this is kind of rough. And there's a little bit of, the waifu style, but you have to kind of give it some grace because, again, it's explained by the fact that by virtue of her being a Black Widow. Okay. But I mean, other than that, like I said, the performances were really strong. Carl Lumbly was fantastic as Isaiah Bradley. I wasn't really feeling him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm not gonna lie, and I like him. I mean, he was one of the first Black superheroes on television. If anybody remembers Mantis, you know what I'm talking about. And so seeing him in this role, given such a strong performance, I was really happy about. And he was great. The actor that is playing the new Falcon, he was good too. He embodies that young, impetuous nature of a young man trying to prove himself, and that's awesome. Harrison Ford, again, he delivered a really good performance, and I was really, really, really surprised by it. And like I say, you really have all of these men basically going at different goals, while trying to stay true to their values. Some of them are more successful than others. And I thought that was really cool. Now, let's look at this from the perspective of a Marvel movie. How was this? How does this stack up? Well, it's kind of in the middle. And when I say that, there were a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of shout outs, a lot of call outs, some cameos, brief cameos, but really good cameos were in this film. And I like that. If I had to put it in the rankings, it's definitely better. It is definitely a return to form for Marvel in a way that they have not been successful at. It's not super jokey like a lot of the recent movies have been. It's far better than Ant-Man Quantumanium. It's far better than Thor Love and Thunder. It's far better than the Marvels. It is by far their best film in the last few years. So that's really, really positive. Things that were not so good from the Marvel perspective. I like the fights because you're dealing with a different style of combat, because Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson is not a super soldier. And because he is not a super soldier, he cannot fight in the same ways that a super soldier would fight his opponents, because he doesn't have the strength, the speed, and the stamina, so he has to rely on a lot of cunning and technique. And I thought that was really cool. Giancarlo Esposito's character in this film is good. He has his own motivations. He's not really in the movie long enough for you to really, really care, but he does play his role well. But I can tell that his role was probably one of the reshoots. I don't think he was originally in this movie, and I think they added him later on, but that's just my speculation. Now, the pacing of this film, it was okay. The thing that really hurts this as a Marvel film is the third act CGI. That's really what hurts this. The scenes that you see in the trailer are probably some of the best action sequences, but once we get to the final act of the movie and the final fight with like Red Hulk and shit like that, it's kind of rough. I'm not gonna lie to you. The green screen is rough. Did that take away from my enjoyment of the movie? Not really, because the story was strong enough and the acting was strong enough to hold my attention throughout the entire film. So I don't really understand where all this hate is coming from for this film, if I'm being honest. A lot of the concerns were addressed in the film. Like, for instance, Sam not having the super soldier serum is addressed. And I felt like it was done in a really tasteful way, because essentially it just comes down to Sam being stubborn about it, and he comes to a realization at some point in the film that that's just not going to cut it, and I appreciate that. And hopefully in the future films with him in them, they address that and take care of that whole super soldier thing, because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's just too many super soldiers running around for you not to take the super soldier serum, because there's not really very many adverse side effects at this point in the MCU. So hopefully they'll take care of that. Now, again, what they set up for at the end of the movie was really cool, and the villain that they introduced in this was actually a plot hole that was set up long ago that they've now, basically closed that plot hole. So that's good. So not only do they give you a really cool villain, but they also, took care of just a gaping plot hole from one of the first Marvel films. But other than that, like I said, this movie was really good. I would actually see it again. That's how good it was. Is it as good as Captain America Winter Soldier? Absolutely not. But is it a good Captain America film? Yes. And I love the fact that they try to differentiate Sam's Captain America from Steve, because he is not Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers is Captain America, don't get me wrong. But Sam as Captain America was not a bad outing. And again, I urge you, if you're curious about this movie, do yourself a favor, go see it. It's worth the ticket price. And like I said, I took my entire family to see it. So I have a 16-year-old, I have a 13-year-old. They enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it. So if you want a good time at the movies, go see this movie, because it is enjoyable. And if you don't believe me, look at the Rotten Tomatoes score from the critics, and then look at the audience. Audience is far happier with this film than the critics were, and I'm really unsure. I don't know whether it's the patriotic elements, whether it's that there's a different Captain America or what have you, but I feel like there is a disconnect between the audience and critics, and not just industry critics, but YouTube critics as well. So if you just want to see a really good Marvel movie that has a solid performance and solid special effects, solid fights, go see this movie. I mean, again, if you wasted your money on the last 3 Marvel movies, this one will definitely take the bad taste out of your mouth. So let me know what you guys thought. If you went to go see Captain America Brave New World, what you thought of it. And we'll talk about it in the comments. So until the next time, we'll see you. 8-Bit Heroes out. Peace.
If you'd like to get a shout out on the channel, then hit that like button, maybe share it with a couple of friends, and do us the biggest honor of all, and subscribe to the channel so you can join the 8-Bit Heroes family. And while you're at it, hit that bell icon so you can be notified when our new videos come out.